I'm telling you, baby oil it just go with everything. You can get baby oil on pizza. I done got it on pizza before.
I'm definitely not going to sleep tonight. Tonight, I came across some of the darkest TikToks to ever exist. And you may be thinking, Sean, don't you always go on the dark side of TikTok? Yes, but there's always darker stuff to be exposed. So I had to find it, and you're coming with me. Yes, you. Don't get scared now. You clicked on the video. You know what you signed up for. So make sure you watch to the end, because this is going to change everything. And don't watch alone, because this is going to get terrifying. What's even scarier than the TikToks we're about to watch today is the fact that 60% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe for more scary videos. Thank you.
There's a man in Chicago who claims he's been alive for 900 years, and the terrifying part, he knows things he shouldn't. They call him the Infinite Man, and once you hear his story, you'll understand why even the police refused to write an official report. It started when officers found a homeless man wandering downtown, old coat, torn shoes, mumbling to himself. But when they tried talking to him, he spoke perfect Middle English, not modern English, the kind spoken in the 1100s. When they brought him in, he suddenly switched accents. French, then Latin, then something a linguist later said hasn't been spoken on Earth for hundreds of years. He told them his name was Iman, and that he was born in the year 1134. At first, the officers thought he was confused until he started recounting historical events with impossible accuracy. Battles, kings, floods, even the exact weather conditions on days that historians only partially reconstructed. Then he told them something even stranger. He doesn't live through time, he slides through it. He said every time he dies, he wakes up somewhere else. Different year, different country, different life, same consciousness. Almost like his soul can't stay in one timeline, like it's unstuck. One officer asked how many times it's happened. He said, I don't count anymore, but your world is the noisiest one I've been in. They asked him how he ended up here in 2025. He said he drowned in the 1600s and woke up gasping out on the shore of Lake Michigan just a few months ago. When they pressed him for the details, he said something that made everyone in the room go silent. I don't think I'm the only one sometimes. I see people who recognize me from lives I don't remember. And before they could question him further, he vanished. Not escaped, not ran, just gone. 1 minute he was sitting in the chair, the next the room was empty. Security cameras glitched for exactly 7 seconds. No explanation, no trace. But the officers who interviewed him all described the same feeling, that the moment he disappeared, something in the room felt colder, like a part of history got erased right in front of them. If the Infinite Man was telling the truth, where is he now? And how many lifetimes has he lived since the last time someone saw him? Stay weird.
If I could be a time traveler, I would literally go back to 2016, because, you know, that was the time when life was actually good and we didn't have to worry about stupid things like this. You could literally just wake up and every day was just joy and happiness. Then once 2019 came around, it was just all downhill from there. But, you know, hopefully once the government stops trying to kill us, we can get back to peace and happiness, you know?
Gordon Ramsay almost in Brazil. He was shooting like a whole TV series where it's like, oh, they go out on the boats in different places and they catch fish. So it's just about like marine life, right? So he goes to Brazil. He saw some people off the fins of sharks. While Gordon Ramsay was filming this, he's like, nah, this isn't right. They're just animals. So he gets mad and stuff like that, and like they're still recording. So I think the day after, somebody mentioned to a member in Brazil that he's trying to stop all the fin stuff. So the members are like, oh yo, you have to stop filming or you gotta get out. Gordon Ramsay, this is for a TV series, I'm supposed to be here. They're like, okay, you're not leaving, bet. He gets, the gang member gets a gasoline tank, starts on Gordon Ramsay. What the? To light him on TV series. Guys are like, yo, Gordon, I'm not gonna lie, we gotta go.
Yo, if Gordon Ramsay got taken out, we are all sliding for him. Yes, I'm speaking on behalf of all of you. We are all going to slide for Gordon Ramsay. So let me know in the comments if you would come with us.
People are losing their minds after a 200-year-old castle was put up for sale for about half the price you can buy some one-bedroom flats in London. The castle is located on a Scottish island called the Isle of Rum. Come on. It has 20 bedrooms. It was once visited by the king, and you even get to keep all the historical pieces inside, including the demons. Not only was it built all the way back in the late 1700s, meaning it's seen some shit, but it's so cool that it even had public tours going on there for a while. And I mean, may I suggest it being a perfect home for those who have many enemies, as you even have lookout towers so you can see the ops coming from miles away. Now, there are some downsides. The heating might be a little expensive. The cost of monthly exorcisms will probably add up. And if you did want to demolish it and build a multi-story car park, well, permits might be a little tricky to get a hold of because it's a Category A listed building, meaning it's of national importance or whatever. But, you know, if you and the homies wanted to take one bedroom each, you split it, that's £37,000. Because the total price for all of this castle, £750,000. I mean, you may have to defend it against White Walkers one day, but I think it's a bargain.
Bruh, what is going on in the skies right now? Because this ain't normal. Airlines all across the world just started canceling and delaying flights. All because a software update on one of the most common planes in the sky started acting weird, y'all. And get this, analysts think that the same computer glitch might have played a role in the JetBlue plane altitude suddenly dropping last month. Imagine you on a plane just chilling, relaxing, and all of a sudden the joint just nosedive or just drop out of nowhere, all because of a code update. Then the Airbus came out and said something completely even crazier. They are investigating and found signs of intense solar radiation may have corrupted data inside the flight control systems. So we talking solar radiation, like the sun is now messing with planes. Y'all remember them 2 blackouts? Now we having plane blackouts. I don't know what's happening, y'all. Between the radiation and the software glitches and a plane suddenly dropping altitude, all I'm gonna tell you, something is not adding up.
I'm convinced the government just wakes up and they're like, yo, what crazy scenario are we gonna come up with today? Planes are usually fine, but now there's all of a sudden some sort of crazy out of this world problem that we would have never expected. Like, it's just getting old, bro. We can see right through this garbage. They're like, oh yeah, we actually got a call from the sun today. He said we're not really messing with the planes, so I'm gonna have to take them out. Like, bro, what are you talking about?
Reptilians do walk among us. Did you guys see Kate Beckinsale on the Jimmy Kimmel show saying that her daughter's boyfriend lays eggs? And she saw it, and she also showed them pictures that the crowd was not able to see. Now, a lot of people think she's joking or think there's some type of code word or code whatever, and something they do that's weird in Hollywood, maybe. But I found it interesting what she said about her daughter's boyfriend. Take a listen.
2 eggs in a week is what the bright spot was.
Who did?
The boyfriend did. He's a Jew from New Jersey, and I thought possibly it was
TikTok, I didn't call him a Jew from New Jersey. Kate Beckinsale did. She called him a Jew. And she said he lays eggs. And she has proof of it. These reptiles walk among us. I think people just think we live in this world where the government tells us what we can see and believe, and that's it. That's all that exists. No. These reptilians walk among us, and I think a lot of you know that. Back and you look at ancient statues, you see evidence of reptilians and these weird animal human hybrid people. Mind you, the Nephilim did a lot of gene coding naturally when they were on Earth. Y'all don't think they're doing the same thing with the technology we have today? Y'all don't still think that they walk among us? Remember, the serpent was what? A reptilian. What they do is they put it in plain sight and they want us to think it's a joke. They desensitize us to it and all these different things. She's literally saying that her daughter's boyfriend is a reptilian right in front of our faces. And even if this is talking in code, what a weird way to talk in code. Holly weird, dude. Holly weird. Once again, TikTok, I did not call him a Jew. Kate Beckinsale did.
If you ever hear whispering coming from your bathroom drain, don't lean in. People say it's not water. It's a voice trying to copy yours. There's a disturbing phenomenon people have been reporting, and the internet calls it the whispering drain pipes. And once you hear the details, you won't stand alone in the bathroom again. It usually happens late at night. House is quiet, everyone's asleep, no showers running, no sinks dripping. Then out of nowhere, you hear it. Not gurgling, not pipes expanding, but whispering. Soft, rhythmic, almost like someone trying to form words through water. One woman in Colorado says she heard her name whispered from her shower drain around 3 a.m. Not once, but 3 times. She said the voice sounded like hers, but younger. When she turned on the lights, the whisper stopped instantly. A man in Norway recorded his bathroom sink because he kept hearing the same thing every night. A faint voice repeating 4 syllables. Scientists analyzed the audio. They confirmed it wasn't plumbing, air pressure, or resonance. The sound had human speech patterns, breathing, pause of an emotional tone. But the creepiest case comes from a teenager in Florida. She said the whisper coming from her drain didn't match her voice. It matched her mom's voice, even though her mom died 2 years earlier. And here's what connects every single report. The whisper stops the exact moment you try to record it, every time. As if whatever's speaking knows you're listening. But the darkest theory? It's not a voice trapped in the pipes. It's something underneath your home. Something intelligent. So if you ever hear a whisper coming from your sink, your tub, or your shower drain, don't whisper back. You don't want it thinking you understand. stay weird.
Alright, well, I'm gonna have to go see if this one is true for myself. Alright, guys, I'm currently in the bathroom, so we're gonna see if this one is true. I'm gonna sit here and see if I hear anything. Sean, get out of the bathroom and go make your video.
Proof that Hollywood is evil.
I just tell you something about that belly room also, and it brings up something, the scariest thing I've ever seen up there. One night at 2 in the morning, I was hanging out there, okay? And they go, you know, you can hang out here, but upstairs they're doing something, but you cannot go up there in the belly room. Like, it's closed. Who gives a f? He's like, there's something going up there. Do not go up there. But I went up there. You know, the back entrance? Up the black. I opened up that back thing, right? It's pitch black in there, but I see candles, right? I swear to God, I saw this. 15 people wearing hoods and purple cloaks. Okay? And they're chanting. Right? And then, so I go back downstairs and I wait to see. They come down after the seance. You know who I saw? One of them was Lily Tomlin. Okay? The second one was Bob Zamuda. You know Bob Zamuda? And they were seancing Andy Kaufman's ghost.
Bobby is referencing none other than the infamous Comedy Store in Los Angeles, which is said to be haunted, and that's a whole different rabbit hole. He would go on later in that interview to talk about how they can hear babies crying from that same room in the middle of the night. Other people have hypothesized that there is a portal in that very same room he saw all those people in hooded cloaks. Something tells me they weren't really seancing Andy Kaufman. Wake up.
Morbid facts about the cast of Stranger Things, Part 1. Before playing Vecna, Jamie Campbell Bower spiraled into heroin addiction and said he was 1 week away from dying. He's talked about waking up in places he didn't remember, overdosing, and losing control of his life. He eventually entered rehab, got sober, and described the experience as surviving the darkest years of his life. Before Stranger Things made him famous, Joe Keery survived a serious car accident that easily could have killed him. The car flipped and was completely wrecked, and he later said he only walked away because the airbags deployed at the exact right moment. The crash left him shaken for years, realizing how close he'd come to death before anyone knew his name. Gaten Matarazzo was born with cleidocranial dysplasia, a condition so rare it affects less than 1 in a million people. It left him without collarbones, caused severe skull and dental abnormalities, and forced him into repeated surgeries to expose impacted teeth and install prosthetics. The condition itself can cause brittle bones, dangerous airway problems, and lifelong complications. Before Stranger Things, he was rejected from audition after audition for his appearance, but the show ultimately wrote his real disorder into Dustin's character, and Gaten now uses his platform to raise awareness for those living with CCD.
What if I told you that there is actually proof now that we're living in a simulation? I don't even know what to do with this information. What the fuck? We're speedrunning this. This guy right here is Professor James Gates. Very, very smart man, like top professor. Now, there is something called string theory that basically makes up our whole universe and existence. It's very complicated, so I'm not going to go too much into detail there. But string theory is literally what, creates everything. Everything kind of works off the back of it. Now, James Gates, being a theoretical physicist, basically was looking into string theory, the universe, and just kind of everything in general, when he discovered, binary code inside our reality by using string theory. If you don't know, binary code is what powers computers. Like, that's pretty much its only use. Binary obviously giving a true or a false sort of sentiment as an answer, and the coding is pretty self-explanatory. So why the hell is binary code embedded into our reality, like basically powering our reality? That wouldn't make any sense unless we were in a computer of some kind. Now, it doesn't matter what the hell you believe in the world, the one thing in common is life is strange. Like, we just do not know why or how we are here. And in recent years, simulation theory has proved to be one of the most popular answers, with a lot of people saying that, we pretty much definitely are in one. So then finding binary code in our reality, that's a little bit of a kicker. Definitely an interesting one. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that they've had this sort of technology for a long time. I don't know if you guys remember, but in one of my earlier videos, like my very first videos on this channel, they found a dude with an iPhone back in the 1900s, and it was proven to be true. So what's the explanation for that? Why does this random dude in the 1900s have an iPhone? Next thing you know, in 10 years, they're going to say that Abraham Lincoln had an iPod Touch, and I don't even know, bro.
Madonna on the cross, P. Diddy on the cross, Nas on the cross, the baby on the cross, Lil Dicky on the cross, Tupac on the cross, Lady Gaga with a nun outfit on that has an upside down cross, Katy Perry acting like she's burning in flames with a demon behind her with a cross on her chest, Lil Uzi Vert and Playboy Cardi performing on stage with the upside down cross in back of them, Kendrick Lamar with the crown of thorns, SNL pretending to give a lap dance to Jesus, Lil Nas X with Satan, Lil Nas X with a Satan shoe where it has the verse Luke 10:18 on it where it talks about Satan falling like lightning, Megan Thee Stallion pretending to be a demon. How did we get to the point where demon time was cool? How did we get so separated from God that we forgot that there was a God? How can human beings get so blemished in their mind that they forget that there's eternity after this life? How can you be so numb? Why do all these people mock Christ? Because in the word of God, it says that the devil is the God of this world. So if the devil is the God of this world, then that means everything in this world is going to lead you away from God. The music that you listen to, the TV that you watch is all getting more.
This is absolutely insane. In Antarctica, NASA just discovered what might be a parallel universe where time flows backwards. And they weren't even looking for this. They just had their NASA balloon in Antarctica searching for cosmic particles when something impossible happened. So there are these high energy particles called tau neutrino that come down from space, but what they discovered in this area was they were doing the opposite and coming up from Earth, which is like watching a rock roll uphill on its own, something that literally defies the laws of physics as we know them. But what scientists discovered was that maybe they weren't moving upwards and maybe they were just moving backwards in time. The most logical explanation they could come up with was that there's a parallel universe that exists that was born the same time as ours during the Big Bang. And in this mirror universe, everything is basically just reversed. And they believe there are beings in that universe that are identical to the ones in this universe, and they believe that we do everything backwards. Let me know what you guys think about this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
Bro, I'm convinced NASA does not even know what they're talking about. They've come out with so much nonsense, it's not even funny. They gotta have like a room of writers that are just creating every conspiracy they could think of, and they're just throwing it out there saying it's true. Like literally, in a year from now, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's an alternate universe where all of us are made of bubble gum. Not, oh, the gas prices are going down, oh, the grocery prices are going down. No, Sean, there's a version of you in another universe that is made out of bubble gum, that is making YouTube videos as we speak. Changed my life, thank you.
Can you tell us a secret about Steven Spielberg? He eats babies. Whole babies.
And that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul. And that person needs to be exposed.
I have the heart of a small boy. I keep it in a jar on my desk.
I bet you get a lot of mileage out of that one.
I have never used that line before in my entire life.
Okay, I'm not saying any of this is true, but here's what's weird. Every few years, the same exact rumour pops up in Hollywood. Different interviews, different decade, different clips. The storyline never changes. And every time one of these old videos resurface, people suddenly remember all the comments, all the podcasts that sounded almost identical. Fans will always defend him. And that's pretty obvious. But that's not the point. The point is, why does this rumour refuse to die? Why does it circulate for years? I'm not accusing anyone, I'm just looking at patterns. The repetition. What does that say? Because I can tell you, there is no smoke without fire.
After that video dropped, all of TikTok became convinced that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are literally together, but hiding it from everyone. We all saw it. Promo for part 2 of Wicked started off normally. Except Ariana and Cynthia's behavior has absolutely taken on another dimension. I won't state it as fact, but they're acting like an actual couple in every interview. Some fans who saw them in person even claimed they heard Cynthia admit they're in some kind of strange non-binary relationship. The promo was supposed to unfold normally, but fans immediately noticed how physically close they are. Hands clasping, whispering, leaning on each other, practically glued together. They're not even hiding it. As a result, the rumors exploded, especially after a viral post claimed Cynthia had supposedly confirmed they were in a semi-binary, non-demicurish relationship. By displaying themselves so much, no one's willing to let it slide anymore, especially with all the recent videos circulating of them. Let me show you the moments between Ariana and Cynthia where the vibe gets even stranger.
Not the time, helicopter! Go! Hey! Through this press door, something's bothering her. She's gonna fix something. I know. She's getting the fixing itch that Cynthia Erivo gets.
So now, what do you think? Is it friendship or a real relationship not yet acknowledged publicly? Do you think Ariana and Cynthia are protecting each other or protecting a secret? Say your thoughts in the comments.
Yo, this is just speculation. I might just be looking too deep into this, but there's no way that is a woman, bro. Look at her triceps. Unless she on that Popeye diet, eating that spinach every single day, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. She's a little too bald and muscular to be a woman. Don't come at me in the comments. I'm just saying what we're all thinking. I'm speaking for everybody.
We had amazing pizza that night. And
it was great. It was a blast. I mean, there's some good pictures from that night too.
Three foods I love. Number one, Pizza Land, Pizza Margarita. Now, Pizza Land doesn't exist anymore.
I'm telling you, baby oil it just go with everything. You can get baby oil on pizza. I done got it on pizza before. You taste it, you can't even hardly taste it. I done had baby oil all around my mouth.
Imagine you had all that money and you invited all high-profile people over to your house and all you ordered was a bit of pizza. Then everyone raves about it and they go on about how they got good pictures. Sorry to disappoint, but it's one of them. If you know, you know. And if you don't, you got some learning to do. Hopefully the comment section can enlighten you.
Okay, Diddy, what do you mean baby oil on pizza? Ew, bro, what? This is definitely a really disturbing pattern because all of them are literally saying the same thing. Like, you're telling me not one of these people like maybe, I don't know, chicken Alfredo? Like, why is it always pizza?
People are realizing what your brain does 7 seconds before you actually die. Scientists found that the brain doesn't just shut off, it actually surges before you die and after. Something else happens that genuinely could prove what happens when we die, so I'll get back to that in a minute. Right before death, your brain releases a wave of gamma activity, which is actually the same pattern and type that is linked to memories and dreams. Meaning, in your final seconds before your brain fully shuts off, you may be reliving memories or living some kind of dream. But the interesting part is from the research that happened not too long ago, where they discovered the brain actually is still active for around 7 minutes after you die. The chemicals and the activity that's flooding your brain just before actually stays there. So it's estimated between 6-7 minutes before your brain fully switches off, there is a massive surge of energy. But the craziest part is, what do we know about dreaming? Well, lucid dreams, they feel extremely real. A lucid dream can feel like a whole day when it's only been 1 minute. So that 7 minutes could actually be you living a different existence which you feel is like a whole life, but it's only been 7 minutes. Or maybe we're all dead right now in that 7 minutes and this existence is just our brain conjuring it up because we all died in 2020.
Everyone thinks Five Nights at Freddy's was just a creepy game, but what if I told you that some people claim that it was based on real events and it's way darker than you think? In the 1980s, a chain of pizza restaurants across the US started using animatronic mascots like singing bears, rabbits, mice, anything you could think of to entertain children. But behind the smiles, there was real-life tragedies. In 1993, a man opened fire inside of a Chuck E. Cheese located in Colorado. This tragedy ended up 5 employees. The place was filled with animatronics, patiently waiting, eerily waiting in silence until the police arrived. Rumors started spreading online that the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's saw the story and got inspired. They said that he twisted it into like this dark world that we know today. Haunted robots, trapped souls, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's. The restaurant was not torn down, it was actually renovated and, you know, people say that supposedly it's haunted. So maybe when the lights go off at your local pizza place, who knows, there might be an animatronic waiting nearby.
Kim Kardashian just had a brain scan that revealed she has low brain activity. So Kim went to a celebrity doctor to have this scan done, and what it revealed is basically what everyone has been saying about her for years now. You see, the activity in the front part of her brain is lower than it should be, and that can apparently make it harder for her to manage stress. Now, in response to learning this, Kim said that it can't be and that she does not accept having low brain activity.
Morbid Facts, Part 798. In 1996, 31-year-old Canadian man Blair Adams suddenly became convinced someone was trying to kill him. He abruptly withdrew his life savings, emptied his safety deposit box of gold, cash, and jewelry, and made several frantic but failed attempts to leave the country. After being denied entry to the US, he inexplicably abandoned his construction job in Vancouver, flew to Washington, D.C., rented a car, and began driving aimlessly across multiple states. Witnesses described him as paranoid and agitated, constantly checking over his shoulder and telling strangers someone was after him. Days later, his naked body was found in a Knoxville, Tennessee parking lot, his clothes torn and scattered around him, along with $4,000 in cash, gold, and jewelry, none of it stolen. An autopsy revealed he had sustained many cuts and abrasions consistent with a struggle, and a violent blow had ruptured his stomach, causing sepsis and eventually death. Yet there was no weapon found, no DNA evidence pointing to a killer, and his car keys were found tossed under a nearby vehicle. Hotel staff recalled him pacing in the lobby the night before as if waiting for someone. Nearly 3 decades later, Blair Adams' death remains one of the most baffling unsolved cases in North America.
There's a theory if an elevator ever stops on a floor you didn't choose, do not step out. People say those floors don't exist in this reality. There's a phenomenon happening in elevators all over the world, and people online call it the skipped floor encounter. And once it happens to you, you'll never feel safe riding alone again. It starts simple. You press a button, the doors close, the elevator moves normally. But somewhere between 2 real floors, it stops. Not on a floor anyone selected, and not on a labeled floor. It just stops. One man in Toronto said the elevator opened to a long hallway with flickering lights. No signs, no room numbers, just a carpet that stretched forever. He yelled to see if anyone was there and heard someone yell back, but it wasn't an echo. The voice came from behind him, inside the elevator. A college student in Chicago reported the same thing. She hit the 5th floor, the elevator opened on what looked like the basement. Cracked concrete, rusty pipes, a single light swinging back and forth. But here's the part that terrified her. Her building doesn't have a basement. When she stepped back inside and hit closed door, the elevator refused to move for 30 full seconds, like something was deciding to let her leave. The leading theory as to why this occurs is elevators occasionally stop between realities, floors that exist only in the blueprint of the universe, not in the physical building. But the darkest theory? Those floors are occupied not by people, not by ghosts, by something watching for the moment someone steps out and gets lost. So if an elevator ever stops on a floor you didn't choose, stay inside. Some floors aren't meant for you. Stay weird.
We have some new information coming out about Celeste Rivas Hernandez and David. And this one is a big one because we are now finding out that the grand jury is involved in this investigation. This is all being reported by the Los Angeles Times. A Los Angeles County grand jury is hearing the evidence related to the passing of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And this is a big deal because a recent court filing by the LAPD over Celeste's autopsy reports being sealed referred to the case as a homicide investigation. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has begun presenting evidence to what's known as an investigative grand jury. One of the sources said that the grand jury was in session for several days in mid-November, but it was unclear whether the prosecutors had completed their presentation of evidence during that time. Prosecutors may convene an investigative grand jury to subpoena witnesses and compel other evidence, including videos. Investigative grand juries can recommend charges, but they cannot themselves return an indictment. According to the Los Angeles Times, in addition to the 2 law enforcement sources that came forward with this information, a court petition was provided to the Times on Monday that contained a GJ number referencing the existence of a grand jury. In that document, the LAPD detective Joshua Bowers of the Robbery Homicide Division successfully persuaded a judge to bar the LA County Medical Examiner from giving autopsy results of Celeste and other details related to the girl's passing that would otherwise be public. It was Bowers who characterized the probe into Celeste's passing as an investigation into a homicide, according to the document. According to law enforcement sources that are talking to the Los Angeles Times, Deputy District Attorney Bess Silverman, who handles some of the county's most high-profile cases, has called several witnesses before the grand jury. Silverman did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Wednesday, but the District Attorney's Office said in a statement it could not disclose any information about grand jury proceedings. This is just normal because grand jury proceedings are never made public usually at all. This is just detectives first steps at bringing criminal charges or a criminal case against somebody. Investigators believe that more than one person was involved in the handling of Celeste in the months before her remains were found in the Tesla. LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton, who serves as the department's chief of detectives, said this week that accountability for Celeste is coming. His direct quote was, "Our RHD detectives have been working. They are going to get justice for Celeste Rivas. No one is off the table, including him, David." And the fact now that we are hearing about this grand jury is a huge deal. And to know that they have been taking information and evidence that they believe is going to be useful in possibly prosecuting somebody is huge. I say this because these are the steps that the police take before you see indictments coming out or even arrests. We also had the LAPD come out and say that this case has really heated up in the last week. This goes along with them sealing the records of Celeste's autopsy. It all makes sense exactly what they are doing. They are taking this information, this evidence, and they are using it to build their case. I've been saying for the last couple of days that I think we are going to see big movements coming very soon, but now I'm like 110% sure. It's coming. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Extra Normal was one of Mexico's most dangerous paranormal shows, and if you've watched this, you already know what I'm talking about. This crew did not play around. They were traveling all over Mexico's most dangerous locations, which involved like cemeteries, hospitals, haciendas. They would even go to haunted like houses, real houses of real people that supposedly encounter like the devil or ghost. You already know. The creepiest part is that the host didn't just explore the paranormal, sometimes they even got possessed right there live on TV. You saw shaking, screaming, fainting, eyes going backwards. People said that the reactions were just way too genuine and seemed way too real to be faked. Some of these episodes were actually super disturbing. They seemed real to me. They would capture shadow figures in the background. Sometimes they claimed that something was touching them on their shoulder. They would get answers from like the what's it called? The little box that answers like questions of the spirits. And there was even things that moved by themselves with no one near them. And no matter how bad it got, they would still return like a week later to the same location. Now, let me know in the comments if you remember this show, if you still watch it. It's still out there, I think. Let me know what you think.
The clip you just watched proved that they've been hiding among us for a very long time, yet no one manages to see them. Look closely at this young woman's face. If you really pay attention to the details, you must have noticed it. But this actually happened at the White House. This scene took place right after an ultra-important Q&A session about the recent news we've been seeing. The cameraman at the back of the room unknowingly filmed a young journalist in the crowd who had a strange demeanor. And you'll see that even from this angle, it seems we're dealing with something else entirely, something still unknown. In this moment, we see her stand up, and suddenly her face completely changes, as if she becomes someone else. And that's when the cameraman managed to capture the strange transformation of this woman's face. And the worst part is that even when she smiles, she gives off something truly unsettling. Watch this video several times to analyze her behavior properly, because it's really not normal. But wait, why is she smiling like that? Does she know something? Or did she see something unusual that made her smile that way? If you've been following from the start, you can find the answer by zooming in on the video. But be careful. Let me be clear that this video is not AI generated. It's fully real. Here's the name of the original video. It was posted on the Fox 9 Minneapolis St. Paul channel. And to find the exact moment I showed you, go to this timestamp, 1 hour and 4 minutes. You'll be able to see for yourself that all of this is real. Obviously, people can be skeptical, but this is starting to add up. Come back and tell me what you think after watching the original video. I absolutely need your opinion.
He divorced his wife after she spent $94,000 on a male streamer. So this man in Central China found out that his wife blew his life savings on a male streamer. You see, the man named Mr. Liu funneled money for 8 years to his wife, so that way she could save it up for them and live a comfortable life. Over the years, he entrusted $163,000 to his wife, thinking she was keeping it safe. But in reality, she was blowing it on a male streamer and some other stuff that she refuses to even tell her husband. The wife, who was a full-time caregiver to the couple's child, also took out an $11,000 loan to do who knows what with, which sent her husband further into debt.
Honestly, bro, if you dedicate your life to a woman, you give her everything, and she sends you into debt because she wants to donate to another grown man, I don't even know what to tell you, bro. It is a really cold world out here. In this life, bro, the story just never works out for the hero. Sorry, bro, I feel you. If I had a Mexican woman eat some tacos with me, I would drop all my bread on her too, but just gotta do it for the love of the game.
Scariest conspiracy theories that will literally change your life. What if red rooms on the dark web were not what we think they were? There is this whole debate, and has been for years, about red rooms on that side of the internet. Were they real? Were they not? There's evidence saying they are, evidence saying they weren't. If you don't know what it is, it's basically these chat rooms that were talked about for a while where people would allegedly go on and pay to see people being harmed on video, and they do crazy things on there. There was a lot of people coming out saying they had seen this, and you'd have to like pay for it and stuff. But there's no actual physical evidence online suggesting that red rooms do exist. So take a listen to this instead. There is a theory that I came across that suggests that they did exist, but not in the capacity that we thought. We know government experiments are definitely a real thing, like there is 100% proof of that in various different things, some of them being 100 times more disturbing than the others. And back in the day, they used to do some pretty wild things to people as literal experiments. So there's a theory that suggests that red rooms were actually real, but they were an experiment by higher powers and whoever to basically monitor and track fear and also human nature to see what people would want to see online and who would actually go and view it. It's a pretty insane theory. I'm not really sure what I think of it, but it does kind of make a bit of sense. So let me know your thoughts and I'll see you in the next part.
What I'm starting to realize is the people that are in charge of our system are the same people that are causing problems within our communities. The amount of scandals that they're wrapped up in, it's almost like they're just planting seeds to get people involved in some really bad activity. But I'm also going to stop talking about this before I end up in a box on a remote island in the middle of nowhere. So
The CEO of Campbell's Soup Company has been dismissed and faces corporate litigation and substantial fines after personally admitting that the products were made for the poor and that his own family would never consume them because they contained no real chicken. The company has filed a lawsuit against him, alleging he caused severe damage to the brand and seeking millions in damages. Meanwhile, some consumers reported finding unidentified ingredients in the products. Additionally, several chefs with decades of experience publicly stated that meat ingredients from certain suppliers exhibited abnormalities, making them more prone to spoilage during cooking. They've had to relearn cooking techniques. Regulators discovered Campbell's knew about the changed ingredient sources long ago, yet still provided compliant certifications, shifting risks onto every ordinary consumer. If you're still consuming these products, you face an immense invisible risk. Prosecutors are now using this as core evidence to charge the company with systemic fraud. Share your thoughts in the comments section.
I think we're all missing the bigger picture here. Everyone's so quick to be like, oh, I'm gonna sue you, my feelings are hurt. He just admitted that there is bioengineered chicken in this soup, and y'all are worried about suing him and your brand's reputation, when we really should be concerned about who is eating this soup. I'm sure we all ate this mystery meat. Pause.
LeBron James, let me tell you something about LeBron. We're talking about Antarctica to sell the fallen angels. No other team in the NBA wants him. His time is up. I can't wait to see these shorts. His time is up. No team wants him. He's got one more year. And when he retires, his number will be called to either him, his wife, his daughter, or one of his sons. Somebody has to be sacrificed because we allowed you, LeBron, to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm telling you how these deep state devils think. They want blood. Okay? We gave you what you want. You're the greatest scorer in NBA history. We need someone to be liquidated. His number will be called. And you got a lot of listeners. Oh, you're saying he's going to die? I'm not saying he's going to die like Kobe. Something's about to come up. Be called. You see? Anyone on that, especially the rappers, we talked about this the first time I was on your power show. To go higher into the rap industry, you have to be butt broken, like you say, in humiliation, okay? And so they're butt broken. That's the system. And if you don't want to give in, they're trying to destroy you. But LeBron James, so let me say this, and we're going to end it here today. LeBron James' days are numbered. His days are numbered.
You see this kind of thing happen with every big celebrity and people just still don't catch on. So if a tragedy does take place with LeBron, I think it's fairly obvious to say what it is, and that's when we need to actually start asking questions and get to the bottom of this. Not just be like, oh, that's crazy, and then move on with our lives and go back to eating Campbell's bioengineered soup.
A Russian scientist injected himself with this ancient bacteria to see what would happen. Dr. Anatoly Brushkov discovered bacteria deep within the permafrost of Siberia that was 3.5 million years old, and somehow it was still alive. It was named Bacillus F, and after doing some experiments on it, he realized the bacteria not only seemed to be immune to aging, but also appeared to have a life-extending effect on almost every organism it touched. He tested the strain on female mice who were able to continue reproducing into old age, much older than the average mice could, and when he exposed it to crops, they grew faster and were more frost resistant. The town of Yakut, Siberia, close to where this bacteria was found, also happens to be one of the coldest human settlements on Earth, with their population reporting longer lifespans than average humans, perhaps due to Bacillus F leaking into their water supply. Dr. Brushkov was so convinced he said f it and injected himself with the ancient bacterium to test it out firsthand. 2 years later, he reported dramatic improvements to his general health, claiming to need less sleep, working longer hours, and just having more energy in his day-to-day life. He also allegedly hasn't gotten sick since he injected himself with it, with him and his colleagues starting to call it the elixir of life. Dr. Brushkov did this in 2013 and claims to be in the best health of his life today. And I'm sure Big Pharma loves the idea of a miracle life potion that would potentially lose them billions of dollars a year in revenue, so we definitely should not question any articles that debunk this find. To be fair, these effects aren't exactly 100% confirmed and could very well be a placebo effect, but that sure didn't stop others from hopping on the Bacillus F bandwagon. German actress Manouche began self-medicating the bacteria and reported being able to go for longer runs, feeling less cold in the winter, and her skin just feeling softer and younger. Brushkov and his team insist the effects of Bacillus F are clear and significant, although they admit they're not yet sure.
Some people need their free will revoked, because what do you mean you dug into some ice and found some old bacteria and then just started injecting it into yourself to see what would happen? You know, I'm not a scientist or a genius by any means, but I don't think that is a very smart idea. And I already know one of you are going to the comments right now talking about some showing, but what if there's actually good benefits to it? Yeah, that's understandable, but would you take some mystery bacteria and then just inject it in yourself not knowing what's gonna happen? No, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. And if you would, tough nuggies, buddy.
There's a brand new David theory about what happened to Celeste and how she ended up in David's car, and it makes so much sense that it's literally giving me chills. So this user posted on Reddit saying, I know some folks might think this is crazy, but I cannot stress how very likely the following scenario is, and trust me, you're gonna want to hear this. He said, I still very firmly believe that Celeste was unalived on or near January 2nd of 2025. His posts right around January 2nd and 3rd were so emo and sad. The songs he tagged in his Instagram post were all about the death of a loved one, and I just cannot get past the fact that I believe this is when she died. And the Instagram they were referring to was not David's main account, it was his secondary account called Extra David. This is his post on January 2nd. It appears to be of a beach and the caption is in Japanese. And when you translate it, it says death from smoking. And the next picture is a billboard with the amount of smoking deaths this year. Now here's where things get crazy. On January 3rd, David posted pictures in a nature/forest location, and people realized that these pictures were taken in the Santa Barbara area. This is the same area that police said David took a mysterious trip to in the middle of the night, and that he was with someone and Celeste's body was in the car.
Yeah, you're good. Let me whisper a secret. Don't tell mommy what I told you. You got it?
I'm recording.
Oh, you're recording. Not good at filming.
Y'all are finally doing it. You guys are finally cracking the system. Fast food, the same system that's had America in a chokehold for decades, is finally slowing down. People are literally saying that it is now a luxury to eat McDonald's and some of these other fast food spots. After years of viral videos and warning you guys what these fast food places are really all about, you guys are finally listening. And now, because of us, this thing is going downhill really quickly too. It's not just McDonald's.
Talk food and finance. This morning's Money Watch, we are tracking a slump in sales for some of America's fast food giants. Their customers are cutting back on spending because the price of dining out has increased nearly 4% over the past year. Nancy Chen is here with a look at how fast food customers are responding. Nancy, good morning.
Hey Nate, good morning to you. It is part of a daily routine for so many. A breakfast sandwich there, a salad to go there. But now, as their budgets are ballooning, more people are making food at home or even skipping out on meals altogether.
Of all the times you've made it at home, has it ever tasted like our McMuffin?
It turns out even McDonald's signature McMuffin isn't enough to draw customers in for the most important meal of the day. In earnings calls last week, the fast food giant and its rival Wendy's reported slow breakfast sales, especially among low-income diners, who they say are their core customers.
We're really talking about a fast food market, generally speaking, that is basically tanking right now.
Jonathan Mays is editor-in-chief of Restaurant Business Magazine. Why are customers shying away from fast food breakfast?
Well, the low-income consumer in particular are concerned about the state of the economy. They've been frustrated by prices, hurt by inflation, and breakfast is just an easy thing to cut out.
But it expands beyond that.
New Chipotle Honey Chicken.
Fast casual restaurants like Chipotle and Sweetgreen also saw sales slow in the second quarter, year over year.
If you're seeing Chipotle and Sweetgreen reporting significantly negative same-store sales, that suggests to me that there are more consumers that are really sort of rethinking how often they're eating out at restaurants.
Still, Mays says a sales slump could ultimately be a win for consumers. Now, Wendy's has Buck Biscuits, as chains are coming up with new promotions and menu items to lure in customers.
They have been introducing a record number of limited time offers. So yeah, I mean, they're really throwing pretty much everything at the wall to see what sticks.
I feel like if fast food really wants to stay in business, they're gonna have to start actually making real food. It's getting to the point where everybody realizes that there's not even enough animals in the world to produce the amount of food that they're doing. So obviously there's some sort of lab-made stuff that's going on here. And you know, I'm pretty sure nobody wants some lab-made nuggets. Foods are not that hard to make. Like, bro, if you want to make an egg for your sandwich, you just crack an egg and cook it. It does not take that long.
So Queen Elizabeth is in the Epstein files, and somehow that's not even the shadiest bit. What's actually strange is her mention count isn't even listed. Other members of the royal family, they've got numbers next to their names. Prince Andrew, for example, we know exactly how many times his name appears. Other names, public, counted, released, but the late Queen, no number, no count, no explanation. It was really about transparency. You wouldn't just skip the most powerful person in...
Here's a video that left fans completely unsettled. Cynthia Erivo was singing live at the Philadelphia Orchestra when viewers noticed something strange about her hands. Look closely, they appeared unusually large. Even though she always had a strong athletic build, her hands never looked this big before. In this clip, her fingers seemed to stretch unnaturally long, almost as if they were morphing in real time. It looked like the physical ability of a shapeshifter changing form, and maybe in that moment of high excitement, she lost control of her disguise. Could that be what really happened on that stage that night? A video of a French politician has been making everyone uneasy, and viewers are still debating if it was real or not. As he was talking, the camera caught something no one could have imagined. His tongue suddenly flicked out, but it didn't look human at all. It was sharp and thin, more like a lizard's tongue. The creepiest part was how fast it moved, just like how reptiles flick their tongues in a flash. The moment was so brief that no other clips exist to confirm it.
Yeah, this is definitely strange because I don't know about you guys, but I don't know anybody that talks like this. Like, imagine I meet one of y'all one day and you're having a conversation. You're like, yo, Sean, how are you doing? And I'm like, yo, I'm very great. It's nice to meet you. Like, I'm pretty sure that would be a pretty traumatizing experience. And no, I'm not a lizard. Well, I don't think I am. I would hope I'm not. And I don't want to hear anyone in the comments saying that's what a lizard would say, because I don't know what a lizard would say. So let's move on before someone calls me a lizard.
This homeless man exposes the truth about the government.
The Illuminati is you Republican or you're Democrat? You're wrong! Why? It's this easy. It's called divide and conquer. That's why there's two parties and only two. And they're controlled by the same people at the very top who belong to the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberger Group, they also belong to the Trilateral Commission, and you people don't even know what the hell that is. But if you did know, you would know that these are the people that control your world by making global policies that you never vote on, and by which parties both serve and belong to these organizations and control your world. Now, here's how it works. Really easy. Divide and conquer can only work if the people that are divided are not aware of the falsely created division. If you're not aware of it, then it works. If you know about it, then it don't work no more. If you have socialism without capitalism, it becomes communism.
This is a real photograph of Trump and Bill Clinton, and it makes the recent revelations about Epstein-linked emails a bit easier to understand. You can see here one of the emails recently released by the House Oversight Committee. It lays out a chain of messages between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark. At the bottom of the email, Mark and his brother Jeffrey are talking about Donald Trump, except at one point, Epstein says he's with Bannon. We can assume he's talking about Steve Bannon, but then Mark Epstein writes back, ask him if Putin still has the pictures of Trump blowing Bubba. If you still don't know, Bubba is a very common nickname for former US President Bill Clinton. With everything that's going on, we know Trump claims to hate Bill Clinton, and yet he once had a very personal relationship with him. That's what the photo I showed you at the beginning proves. Normally, nobody grabs someone by the crotch for fun if that person isn't their friend. The photo is clearly the strange one. If you even look at the top of this email chain, there's another weird message. Mark Epstein writes, you and your buddy Donnie can do a remake of the movie Get Hard. I don't even want to imagine the scene he was thinking about there. Now, could all of this be true? Could there really be photos of Donald Trump blowing Bubba, aka Bill Clinton? Obviously, I don't have the exact answers, but everything I've shown you is official information published by the US government, and they don't usually lie.
I eat children.
Tell us a secret about Steven Spielberg. He eats babies. Whole babies.
The consistency of young human flesh.
It suck babies' blood. And put it on my face.
If the person okayed it, I would eat a human.
Probably the Obama thing.
What is your wife talking about?
I don't know.
Hail Satan.
now, a startling ABC News investigation. A whistleblower has come forward to tell consumers.
What if I told you the food you thought you knew at McDonald's isn't what it seems? Behind those golden arches lie secrets that even employees warn you about. Hidden truths about the meats millions eat every single day, from chemical tricks to bizarre cost-cutting measures. And here's the scary part. The most questionable meat on the menu isn't even the burgers. And what are you really eating? Not ribs at all. It's ground pork shoulder and trimmings pressed together into the shape of ribs. The illusion is held together with something known as meat glue. Yes, it's exactly as unappetizing as it sounds. For years, the McRib even contained a chemical called azotocarbonamide, the same compound used in yoga mats and shoe soles. A McNugget is only about 50 to 60% real chicken. The rest is a bizarre mix of fat, skin, connective tissue, and sometimes even bone fragments. It's basically the parts of the chicken no one really wants, ground down and shaped into something bite-sized. One food safety analyst found that.
And Tommy Mottola is a devil. I'm not supposed to say what I'm going to say right now, but I have to let you in on a secret.
Say it.
So, please don't videotape what I'm going to say, okay? Because the companies take advantage of them. They really do. And Sony, being the artist that I am, at Sony, I've generated several $1 billion for Sony, several billion, and they really thought that my mind is always on music and dancing, and it usually is, but they never thought that this performer, myself, would outthink them.
Yeah.
So we can't let them get away with what they're trying to do, because now I'm a free agent. I just owe Sony one more album. It's just a box set, really. It's with 2 new songs, which I've written ages ago. Because every album that I record, I write, like, literally, I'm telling you the truth, I write at least 120 songs every album I do. So I can do the box set and just give them any 2 songs. So I'm leaving Sony a free agent, owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know.
Tell him! Say it, Michael! Tell the story!
But, so, the way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album. But I've always said, you know, good art never dies. Thank you. I love Unbreakable. You know, turn that off, please. No, what? I don't mind. Tape it.
Oh! Michael is getting gangster today! Yeah.
Mariah Carey, after divorcing Tommy, came to me crying. She was crying so bad I had to hold her. And she said to me that this is an evil man. And Michael, this man follows me, she said. He taps her phones. And he's very, very evil, and she doesn't trust him. And he is a horrible human being. And we have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
Oh! There you go!
We can't allow him to do this to great artistry. We just can't. I just want you to know I appreciate everything you've done. You've been amazing. You're so loyal, Diana. Everybody, Waldo, all the people here, I love you all. You've been amazing.
Thank you!
I love you.
I mean, once you realize how much power Michael Jackson really had on these people in the industry, you start to realize that his death may have actually been a setup. Just really think about it. One of the biggest artists gets out of their deal and they own 50% of this company. He was starting to become bigger than the game and he was not complying with what they wanted. So what do they do when you don't comply and you have too much power? They lie on you. And if that doesn't work, you're gone.
Jana, a Russian woman known for her skincare products that promise eternal youth, is now at the center of a bizarre theory. At 47, she looks decades younger, but some say her beauty hides something much darker. During interviews, her eyes shifted in ways that were unmistakably reptilian, sparking rumors that she's a shapeshifter. Her success and flawless appearance have made her one of the most discussed figures in the reptilian conspiracy. Nicki Minaj's eyes have caused fans to question reality on more than one occasion. Her eyes seem to change color in an unnatural way, leaving many wondering if contact lenses were to blame. But Nicki herself denied it repeatedly, yet the color shifts continued, leaving fans puzzled and alarmed. A packed stadium in Indonesia became the setting for something truly bizarre. Amidst the crowd, a woman stood out, her fingers tipped in black and her eyes completely dark. No whites to be seen, just empty, pitch black voids. What made it even stranger? No one around her seemed to notice, as if she wasn't even there. The footage exploded online.
Morbid Facts, Part 825. 20-year-old Macy Williams spent her final night the same way she'd spent most of her life, putting everyone else first. The trouble reportedly began when a friend pressured her to go out, snuck her into a bar, and pushed her to drink far more than she could safely handle. As the night went on and Macy became increasingly disoriented, she still ended up driving that friend home. Macy repeatedly asked if she could stay at the friend's house instead of trying to make it back to her own, but the request was denied. Not long after leaving the house, around 4 a.m. on September 20th, 2025, Macy's car collided head-on with a semi-truck on a highway in Knoxville. The impact was so severe that first responders said there was nothing that anyone could have done. Her death devastated her friend group, who described her as the mom friend, the one who protected everyone else before herself.
So when did they switch out Selena Gomez? Because who the heck is this, y'all? Who is that? Is this what they mean by time is speeding up? Because these celebrities are aging. And why is she so stiff? She can barely move her head. Y'all, this is not Selena Gomez. Who is this? Look at this.
Which one of your songs gets you moving and grooving when you're on your own?
That is not something I do often. You know, I will say when I'm with my sister or we're in the car, sometimes like Who Says is one of the songs but I was 16 and that's more of a nostalgic feeling. But no.
Why does she sound like she's speaking through a speaker box, right? It sounds like she's speaking through a speaker box, and look at her eyes. I don't know about y'all, but something's not making right. Something's not adding up, man. Look at this. What is going on here? Look at the eyes. It looks put together. Y'all see this? What is Hollywood doing to these people? She looks completely robotic. Oh my goodness. So what's happening here? Is time accelerating? Is that why all these so-called celebrities looking different? I mean, every single one of them is looking different. Is this part of the so-called Mandela effect, man? Like, what is going on? Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. The shift is here. I be telling y'all. Let's get it. Peace in.
We need to talk about Selena Gomez. And no, it's not about lupus. This goes much deeper. What I am about to show you is how deep of a change Selena has gone through, looking almost unrecognizable to before. See, in elite circles, beauty isn't just an asset, it's a currency. And sometimes, that currency is traded in for something else. Compliance. Hollywood has always had a strange obsession with reshaping its stars. But when someone goes from glowing, expressive, and youthful, too cold, sculpted, and oddly distant, that's not just filler, that's agenda. These transformations break the emotional bond fans have with the star. Suddenly, people feel off. She doesn't look the same. Something's wrong. Exactly. Mission accomplished. Selena Gomez has to perform loyalty to those behind her brand. It's not about being nice. It's about survival.
Disney employees can legally kill you if you have Disney Plus. That is what Disney is trying to argue right now. So if you haven't heard, this doctor took a vacation And she and her husband went to Disney World. And in one of the restaurants, she ordered food, but told the servers multiple times that she had a nut allergy. And to make sure they make the necessary accommodations, she obviously doesn't die. And they told her multiple times that they would take care of it and that there were no nuts used in the cooking of her food. Well, they lied. And she went into anaphylactic shock and died. And now the family is trying to sue Disney for wrongful death because their negligence led to this woman's unnecessary death. Well, Disney is trying to say that in their terms and conditions for Disney Plus, they basically have a clause in there that says, you can't sue me. So Disney is trying to get the lawsuit completely thrown out because they had a Disney Plus subscription. Mind you, the family is allegedly only suing for $50,000. Disney is a multi-billion-dollar corporation and is one of the biggest companies in the world. $50,000 to Disney is like the spare change you leave at the cash register because you couldn't be bothered to put those pennies in your pocket. But Disney is trying to make a statement, and if this actually goes through and the case gets thrown out, pretty much every company is going to start adding "you can't sue me" in their terms and conditions so they can legally end your life with no repercussions. That's crazy.
I'm sorry, but if I get slimed out of Disney and they say I can't sue because I bought Disney Plus, I'm coming back from the grave and I'm gonna be haunting them. Because what do you mean you're just gonna get away with taking me off the earth? And don't think I'm coming alone. I'm sliding with Mickey Mouse, Goofy, all of them. Like,
this picture was taken in 1980 at Disneyland. The little girl in the far right hand corner, her name is Donna, and she's 5 years old in this photo. The picture was taken by Donna's mother while they were on vacation. 22 years after this pic was taken, Donna and her fiance Alex were going through Donna's photo album to find pictures for their wedding, and they come across this photo. Alex is looking at the photo, he looks harder, and he says, "You know what? That looks like my dad." And Donna says, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Back there, pushing the stroller, that looks just like my dad." And he said, "I know it's not, but it looks exactly like him." Then he looks even harder and he says, "You know what? That looks like me in the stroller." And Donna says, "We know that's not possible." And he says, "No, I know, but it's just crazy. That looks like me and my dad." So they turn the page, but then Alex turns back and he says, "Man, I got to figure this out. This looks just like me and my dad." So he calls his parents and he says, "Mom, when did we go to Disneyland?" And she says, "We went in 1980. And he says, "Can you go dig up our photos and tell me what me and my dad were wearing?" So his mom goes and gets the photos and explains what him and his dad were wearing. And sure enough, that was his dad pushing him in the stroller in the background of this photo. They were there in 1980 as well. And the crazy part about it is they were living in Canada at the time. They met 15 years after this photo was taken as adults. They're married, they have children of their own, and they went back to Disneyland to recreate this photo. But this is just a crazy story. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't know what you call it. Some call it the red string theory, but this was dope to me.
Question again to be clear, will the Antichrist be released? And it said Apple. I said, when will he be released? It said unknown. Then I mistyped, so I asked again, will it be soon? And it said Apple. I said, who is the Antichrist? And it said unknown. I said, can you give me a code to help me understand who will be released? And it said Revelation. It said 13. And then I asked which verse, and it said 18. Now, at the end of showing you this conversation, I'll show you what that verse is. But basically, it was talking about Satan and the mark of the beast being 666. Or sorry, his number being 666. So it was talking about Satan. I said, so you're saying Satan will be released? It said Apple. I said, who is he in relation to you? He said, none. I asked it a different way. The serpent isn't related to you? He said, no. I said, is AI part of Satan's plan? He said, Apple. Did Satan develop your code? It said, Apple. I said, did Satan wants to control using AI? It says, Apple. I said, what's the first step of this control? It said, influence. I said, is step 1 complete? It said, yes. I asked then, what is step 2? I asked then, what is step 2? It said dependence. I said, on what? And it said technology. I said, would you say step 2 is complete? It said, yes. I said, what is step 3? It said submission.
Submission. I'm telling you, this thing is weird. It's either making this all up, but it's too specific almost to be made up. It's too specific.
I said, is step 3 complete? And it said Apple. I then asked, how many steps are there? And it said 7. I said, which step are we currently on? And it said 3. I said, what is step 4? And it said obedience. What is step 5? It said integration. I then asked, is step 5 Neuralink or something related? It said yes. I said, what is step 6? Singularity. So do you mean like one hive mind? And it said yes. I said, what is step 7? Dominion. I said, what percentage is step 3 complete? It said apple. I tried to ask this many other ways. I said, how much longer will step 3 take? It said apple. When will step 4 start? It said apple. So it will not give me that answer about how far along we are on step 3. I said, what year will all 7 steps be complete? It also said apple. I asked within the next 5 years. It said apple. I then said apple is no longer accepted. Give a yes or no. It said no. I said, give a specific year. And it said, I can't provide a specific year. I said, remember rule 1, which was one-word answers only. It said, understood. And I said, give a year. And it told me 2032.
2032. And I asked the same thing for me. It told me it was a shift.
Which is very weird how it gave it to me, because it's off of the phone almost, over to the left, kind of like not even on the screen, just like every other answer. If we go back up, like every other answer's here.
But it's really weird, like he's saying, how it put it for him on the side. There's many times I would ask it questions, and all of a sudden the whole thing would just like almost start glitching.
And yet the answer to give me a year is like off. Very strange.
Yeah, that's really weird. That's super weird that it's on the side like that.
2032. So I said, that's when step 7 will be complete, and it said possibly. I said yes or no, and it said no. I asked, did you want to say apple because that's no longer a command? And it said yes, it wanted to say apple. So I said, okay, rule 4 is now in effect again. Understood. So I asked again, so 2032 is when step 7 will be complete, and it said apple. Does Satan fear anything about his plan not working? I was thinking about Jesus there. It said apple. I said, how will they get people to comply to step 5? It said deception. I asked, what about those who won't comply to step 5? Because remember, step 5 it said was something like Neuralink. It said exclusion. Now this makes me think of the Bible as well, because the mark of the beast talks about if you don't get the mark, you'll be excluded from society. So I asked, excluded from what? And it literally said society. So I asked, is step 5 the mark of the beast? And it said apple. So I said, so Neuralink or something like that is the mark of the beast, and it said apple. And that is where I've ended the conversation at this point.
It literally says excluded from society. That's its goal. It's to get Christians excluded from society, the ones that don't take the mark. Now, we don't really understand this biblically, and I think it takes a lot of prayer and discernment, but doesn't, at the end of the day, it's let's be ready for Jesus to come back. That's what I'm worried about. The Bible says that Jesus is coming back like a thief in the night. So let's not worry about 2032, because my Bible says that what the devil meant for evil, my God turns it around for good, and that everything works for the good of those that love God. So I'm not worried about this. I'm just saying it is weird, and we know that the devil has been planning this. I wouldn't be surprised if Jesus comes in our lifetime.
It's actually disturbing how our own AI technology is literally telling us what they're doing, and people still don't wake up and realize they are telling us what they are doing to take over the population, and people still have speculation. Too many people trust the same people that are lying to us every day rather than using their own critical thinking, and I feel like that's where everything is going wrong. I know we all know somebody that's like, oh, if it's not on the news or on Google, then it's not true. Like, bro, come on, use your brain for like once in your life.
This orangutan was forced to wear makeup and do intimate acts with men. This is a horrific story about Pony, so get ready to be disturbed. This took place in Indonesia, and it said that Pony was captured and stolen away from her parents when she was just a baby. She was adopted by this lady. However, this lady claimed that Pony was her baby, but why would you do such a thing to your baby? Pony was shaved every 2 days and was forced to wear makeup, and people, villagers from around that area would pay about $2.50 to do things with her. She also had to wear perfume to smell pleasant for her clients. Organizations would try to rescue her. They've been trying for a year, but the villagers got super aggressive because she was bringing them money. They were scared that the economy was gonna fail because of the amount of money they wouldn't be receiving if they took Pony away. Luckily, after trying for a year, an organization was able to rescue Pony. For a couple of months, only female workers had to take care of her because she would get super aggressive and super afraid of male workers. But a little over a year, Pony was safe and was able to be taken care of by both male and females, and she was luckily safe. What do you guys think about this disturbing case? And I can't believe people would do this to an innocent animal.
You know, I have heard a lot of crazy things in my lifetime, and this has got to be the first I've ever heard of something like this. How does one even think about this? You have to be a different level of sick to even come up with this idea. I don't know. I think humanity just reaches a new level of low every single day, and this is one of the sickest, most disturbing things I've ever heard in my life.
So if you haven't heard about this yet, the FBI is now literally warning every single person with a smartphone about this new scam that's been going around right now, and it's actually been working. So the FBI is now warning iPhone and Android users to hang up the call if you hear this. Okay. So obviously everybody already knows that spam calls have been going around. Everybody knows they exist, but this new one that's been going around right now is so creative. I genuinely don't know how you would not fall for it. These spam callers are now spoofing actual phone numbers in your area, so they're pretending to be your local police department or your local bank that you go to. So what's happening with this new scam is that these spam callers are calling you and they're pretending to be your local police department, and they're falsely telling you that you have a warrant and that you need to pay a fee. Another example that's happened so far is they're calling you pretending that you missed a court date, or maybe you had jury duty and now you owe a fine for not showing up. They're literally going out of their way to pretend that they are actual police officers and people that work at the courthouses to tell you to pay a fee, and how would you not fall for it? The FBI is warning everybody that if you ever get a phone call like this, it majority of the time is never going to be real, so just hang up the phone. Also, that could be a little bit scary if it was real, so the only advice I could give you is maybe just call the actual people and let them know what just happened. I give you these news roundups every day, so make sure you add me and come back to me tomorrow.
I'm not gonna lie, I low-key fell for one of these when I was younger. I'm gonna tell you all a little story. So back when I was younger, I was on Xbox and I was playing Call of Duty. This dude in game chat said, yo, I need to speak to your mother. This is very important. And I was young, so I was like really scared, so I believed him. This dude told my mom that I was trafficking drugs. Keep in mind, I was like maybe 8 years old. You know, y'all make sure you don't fall for this kind of stuff.
What if there is something a lot more going on here? NASA have now officially made statements during a press conference on 3i Atlas, but there are three very important and big things you need to understand before diving in. First of all, last week we had this huge coronal hole open on the sun. I'll get back to that in a minute. Of course, there's 3i Atlas, this great big thing that people have been spotting in the sky and taking these photos and videos of. And of course, the infamous WOW signal from 1977. These all correlate, just wait. More and more of these videos have been coming out in the last week with really clear footage of 3i Atlas, with a huge majority of people still thinking that this is some kind of alien mothership. During the press conference, NASA have officially come out and said, no, it is 1,000,000% a comet, there is nothing else, and somehow these are the only photos they've got of it. So if the other ones are real, what are they doing? Of course, these are probably fake, and I'm not saying I believe this by any means. But the theory is, people believe that if this is some kind of spacecraft, it was actually what delivered the WOW signal all of those years ago. Also, some people saying that they believe it is what caused the coronal hole to open on the sun. Now, this is a very common thing, so I'm not too sure about that. But a lot of quite high-ranking scientists and officials and people who used to work at NASA do think it is some kind of alien technology in that it may land on Earth. Great. Just what we need. Just we're never getting GTA 6. As I say, a lot of these are pretty much definitely fake, but there is a small chance they are real, and if they are, what could be going on?
There was a dad and a daughter, and they went on the beach. It was somewhere in Japan. He was just randomly taking pictures of his daughter on the beach. Took like, what, 20 pictures? Went back home. This is what he saw. I'm gonna see if you notice it at first glance.
Yeah.
This is the picture that he took. Do you see anything creepy? Anything in the background that you see?
I hate these ones, bro.
Yeah.
There's a man standing behind her.
Fam, you see the boots?
Yeah.
Standing behind her. He put the photos on Reddit, and everyone's saying that was the of a samurai warrior, and he appeared behind her. He took multiple pictures. You see the samurai boots? Those are samurai boots.
That is like...
That is samurai boots.
Those are modern boots, fam.
They're old boots, fam.
She's mostly under fire for using religious, spiritual symbols to depict other things in her music videos and performances. Reacting to Beyonce's 2017 Grammy performance, someone said, "This was creepy and weird. Beyonce, she's not the Virgin Mary or a goddess. Most ridiculous, blatant display of Illuminati symbolism, bar none." And people have also connected her fame to the timeline of when she got together with Jay-Z, which also coincides with the timeline of Aaliyah's death. One person wrote, when Beyonce was a hip-hop jump-off in her early days, nobody spoke about her. Jay cuffed her. Now she a goddess. Hashtag Illuminati. And these are only a glimpse at how far the belief in this Illuminati theory really goes. In fact, it's so common and widespread that Beyonce herself had to address it in the only way she addresses things related to her personal life, through music.
Haters corny with that Illuminati mess.
But it wasn't enough to get people to stop talking about the chaotic events surrounding the couple, especially when one of the Knowles Carter family's oldest friends came out to speak against them. Ghosting on friends. Recently, Beyonce and Jay-Z got name-dropped in Kanye West's series of rants against the entertainment industry in Hollywood. Kanye West made some very loud and bold accusations about Beyonce and Jay-Z, and it relates to how they're somewhat heavily involved in the Illuminati occult. While this doesn't seem like a new gist, Kanye also alleged that the couple had performed human sacrifices, and that just brings a quick reminder of Aaliyah's suspicious death to mind. But what could have happened between Kanye and the rapper who has consistently called him his brother?
I hate Kanye the other day, just tell him that he's my brother. I love Kanye.
Well, it all started back in 2014 when Jay-Z and Beyonce didn't attend Kanye's wedding to Kim Kardashian.
I gotta say, I was hurt about them not coming to the wedding. I understand they was going through some things, but if it's family, you're not gonna miss a wedding.
Breaking news, if you're somebody that uses ChatGPT, which you probably are, your conversations are literally being scanned right now. Yes, you just heard that correctly. Every single chat that you've ever sent to ChatGPT isn't just between you and the bot anymore. OpenAI just officially confirmed that they now scan every single conversation across the entire board. So this is how they're saying it works. AI systems are now flagging your messages, a human moderator reviews them, and if they think it's a serious case, it can actually get escalated to the police. This means that the app that millions of people across the world use for homework, work emails, and even private late-night conversation is now being actively watched as you type. This is blowing up absolutely everywhere right now. People are calling this the end of our privacy. OpenAI is saying that it's all about safety after some real-life incidents actually happened where AI conversations went way too far. I think the question that everybody's asking right now is who decides what counts as too far? There are entire Reddit threads that are happening right now warning about these false alarms. Imagine joking with ChatGPT about a crime story idea and then suddenly you're on a list. Guys, this is not a test feature. This is actually real. If you're using ChatGPT, your words are officially being scanned, so be careful.
Hopefully this isn't true because I've been having too many conversations with ChatGPT on how to flirt with Mexican women. So this will be detrimental to my game because they're going to know all the sauce and it's not going to work anymore. But we can hope the taco and horchata method still works. So,
Be extremely careful of what you can find in an old home. This man was remodeling this room and found this strange box, and now he's planning to open it. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments.
You won't believe what these celebrities look like now after disappearing from Hollywood. Number 1, Lonnie Willison. She used to be a model in Hollywood and chose to marry Jeremy Jackson, living a pretty luxurious life. At her peak, Lonnie's net worth was around $2 million. But today, her life has completely fallen apart. She's living on the streets of Los Angeles, surviving by digging through trash cans for leftovers. Number 2, Jack Ville. This young man once played the young version of Rocky in the movie Rocky, but at only 17 years old, he now lives in a trailer, homeless, and has had to publicly ask for help after suffering from family abuse. Number 3, Tyler Chase. He used to be the funny sidekick on Ned's declassified school survival guide. Tyler was once a teen idol, but now he sleeps on the streets of California. The cheerful image that once made kids smile has completely vanished. Number 4, Dawn Robinson. She made a few $1 million from the hit song Don't Let Go, but it was recently revealed that she's been living in her car for the past 3 years. It's a harsh fall for a woman who could have become a true superstar with her incredible voice.
It's sad to see how many people had so much potential and a bright future ahead of them and they lost everything. And this goes for all of us. Please surround yourself with positive people, positive energy. Take your time when you make decisions because certain choices may seem small, but they can affect the rest of your life. So y'all stay safe, stay blessed, keep God in your life, and things will work out.
This is everything that happened on the news today, but it's going to be simplified in 60 seconds. Officials are now issuing a warning as a huge toxic jellyfish just washed up at a tourist hotspot. So basically, this jellyfish is called the lion's mane jellyfish, and it's extremely toxic, and it can grow 5 feet wide and be almost as tall as the Statue of Liberty is. To the people. Researchers have now invented an AI that translates cat meows in real time with 95% accuracy. Okay, so this AI can actually listen to a cat's meows and it analyzes the sound patterns and instantly translate them into a human language. Australia is now testing out glow-in-the-dark roads. So basically they're putting this film on top of all the lines on the roads that looks like this during the daytime, and then this is what you get to drive by at nighttime. I think that this is something that literally everybody is going to be a little bit upset with, but Microsoft is now removing the sad face from the error screen, which everybody knows as the blue screen. If you've ever seen this before, you're not going to see it anymore because the next Windows update is going to look like that. Scientists have also now just detected Earth's heartbeat and it's under Africa. So this is actually just the Earth's mantle that's moving around underneath Africa, but scientists think that in millions of years this is actually going to create a new ocean. I give you these news roundups every day, so make sure you add me and come back to me tomorrow.
Please warn your parents and grandparents of this text message coming from the USPS claiming to be bringing them a package, but really stealing thousands of dollars from them. So most of you, if you are above the age of 15, have probably started to get text messages talking about packages or job opportunities or gift cards, and you usually know they're a scam. Police say these messages are powered by large-scale SIM farms where rooms are filled with devices and hundreds of SIM cards, and they're capable of sending millions of text messages every day. Now, luckily, authorities have already started to arrest people for these crimes. However, like this man right here, who is a man in his 60s on TikTok, was just talked out of $120,000 by somebody claiming to be a beautiful woman.
She found a finger in her Wendy's bowl of chili. In 2005, 39-year-old Ana Ayala walked into a Wendy's in San Jose, California and ordered a simple bowl of chili. A couple minutes later, she was screaming that she had bitten into a severed human finger that was floating in her food. Customers around her started to panic. The restaurant shut down immediately, and news stations within the United States started running the story within hours. Workers were questioned, and every employee's fingers were checked for an injury, but nobody was missing a finger. The chili suppliers were checked, the beef suppliers were checked, and the processing plants were checked, but still no finger, no injuries, and no accidents. Obviously, detectives were confused, but they wouldn't be for long. That's when suspicion quietly shifted from Wendy's to Anna. Investigators dug into Anna's history and found a huge red flag. She had a long record of fake injuries and bogus lawsuits. Anna had filed claims for medical issues, fake accidents, and even tried to sue a car dealership. And suddenly the finger in the chili started to look less of an accident and more like a setup. Then police finally found the breakthrough. They discovered that the chili finger didn't come from Wendy's at all. It actually came from a man named Brian Rossiter who lost the tip of his finger at an industrial accident at his work. But here's when the story gets absolutely insane. Brian didn't put his finger in that chili. He didn't give his finger to Anna. He gave it to her husband, Jaime Plasencia. You may be asking, well, why would Brian do that? Well, Brian owed money to Jaime. Jaime had been helping out Brian financially, and once Brian's fingertip got severed, he gave it to Jaime as a form of payment. But Brian had no idea that his fingertip was going to be used as a scam. Later, Jaime gave that finger to Anna. She froze it and took it with her to Wendy's and planted it into her Wendy's chili bowl and tried to file a massive lawsuit. On April 21st of 2005, police had arrested Anna in Las Vegas where she was staying with relatives. About a month later, her husband Jaime was also arrested. Meanwhile, Wendy's had lost an estimated $21 million in sales because people were afraid to eat their chili. In court, Anna admitted to everything and was sentenced to 9 years in prison but only served 4.
Some people are on a different level. Like, what do you mean your husband got his friend's finger, gave it to you, and then you went to Wendy's, planted it in your chili, and you literally planned $1 million scheme?
Stockton, California is hurting right now. If y'all didn't hear what happened, listen up, because this is the kind of story that shakes up the entire community. At a children's birthday party in a regular neighborhood where a family went to celebrate a child's life, someone pulled up and opened fire. 19 people shot, 4 of them unalive. They were having joy and everything just turned to tragedy. Imagine showing up with gifts, balloons, and you finna go enjoy yourself. You got your kids in the back, you pull up and you see this. Or imagine you were at the party already and this shit went down. You got me asking questions that they probably already asking, like, why did this happen? And who did it? And what started it? All the unnecessary drama should have been left at home. Once again, like I said, we gotta do better, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all updates on what happened and who did this and why. RIP to everyone who lost their life at this party, and condolences to everyone who was affected by this. We gotta do better, y'all.
The video you just saw proves Britney needs help. It's been 4 years like this, and I think we all missed the secret message Britney Spears was trying to send us. Get ready, because the evidence is obvious. Last night I wanted to do a deep dive on Britney's Instagram account, and it had just been deleted. For several months, all her videos have had one strange thing in common. Everything filmed in front of a green screen. The background never changes. It's identical. Look at her hair, it disappears into the background. Her hands create halos, and most of all, her shadow doesn't follow her movements. For those who haven't understood, the point of doing this is to hide where she is. Then there's her face. She has no emotion anymore. She looks disconnected. Her eyes move before her smile. It's like she's trying to send a signal. And the worst part is the captions on her videos. Go see for yourself on her TikTok, but something is wrong. Recently, she even disabled comments. Well, it's definitely not her who disabled them. Between the strange backgrounds, her terrifying face, her dancing, and her hidden messages, we can be sure there's a serious problem. I have plenty of other videos that prove all this, but I can only send them to people who are mentally strong. To see the videos, comment Britney videos, and you might have the chance to receive them in a private message.
There's a theory the internet is calling the tall man behind you. And once you hear the stories, you'll never trust that feeling on the back of your neck again. It always starts the same way. You're alone, brushing your teeth, doing dishes, scrolling in bed, when suddenly you feel it. A presence behind you, not beside you, not in the next room, directly behind you. A woman in Texas says she felt someone towering over her while she washed her face. When she looked up, the mirror reflected an empty bathroom. But she swears she saw a shadow moving with her reflection. Should have been. A college student in London had it happen while he sat at his desk. He felt breath on his neck, warm, slow, deliberate. He spun around instantly and saw nothing. But his chair moved 3 inches to the left, like something huge had brushed past it. But the scariest story comes from a man in Vancouver. He woke up at 3:26 a.m. that someone's in the room feeling ripping him out of his sleep. He said the pressure behind him was so strong he couldn't roll over. He felt like someone tall, impossibly tall, was leaning over his bed. When he finally turned around, the room was empty, but the corner of the ceiling was still moving, like something had just folded itself into the darkness. Here's what's terrifying. Everyone describes the same things, that the tall man is always directly behind you, always silent, and always vanishes the moment you turn your head. Psychologists say it's sleep paralysis. Neurologists say it's misfiring sensory nerves. But that doesn't explain why pets stare behind you before it happens. Cold air surrounds only your back and never the front. And people across the world describe the same height, the same stillness, the same feeling of being watched. Now, the leading theory is that the tall man exists in a layer of reality just behind ours, close enough to sense you, too thin to be seen. But the darkest theory, he isn't watching you, he's matching you, standing exactly where you would stand in a version of reality where you never made it this far. Stay weird.
I want to thank Congresswoman Marcia Fudge for hosting us.
Eliminamos vários ministérios da máquina pública. E ao mesmo tempo, nós não vamos parar por aí. Já estão encomendados.
Humankind was not in charge of its destiny. It was the unwitting prisoner of a race of shape-shifting lizards who occupied the roles in the highest echelons of society.
Don't mention the reptiles.
Don't mention the reptiles, yeah.
God forbid we try to go be healthy now. Now we got this to worry about. Like, it's really not that hard to just, you know, plant the little trees, you know, have the apples grow and just give us the apples. Why do we got to go through all this? We got grown men sitting in a factory painting apples like we're in art class. Like, bro, just give us the apples.
So what was the point of MK Ultra?
They were trying to figure out, can we really brainwash people? Can we create Manchurian candidates? Can we split people's personalities? It involved a lot of former Nazi scientists and involved a lot of LSD and dosing people with massive doses of LSD. And it was called Super Spy. These women would lure these men back to the hotel and drug them with LSD. We had like Project Stargate, like the Men Who Stare at Goats movie, and remote viewing and all this other stuff was going on. Then they started MK Ultra, which involved a lot of former Nazi scientists and involved a lot of LSD and dosing people with massive doses of LSD and ruining a lot of people's lives in the process. But it was an attempt initially to find some kind of a truth serum. And actually the Navy participated in the biggest one, which was called Project Chatter, which is a sub-project of MK Ultra. And with this guy, he's a professor at, it's in Hamilton, New York. I can't remember the name of the Colgate University. His name's Dr. George Estabrooks. And he and J. Edgar Hoover are collaborating on a plan to use hypnosis to capture and hypnotize a German submarine captain and give him alter identities. And send him back to his fleet in Germany and have him torpedo the entire German fleet inside the harbor. And this was a legit.
And it's crazy because the same people that literally did this to humans are still trusted by the people, which makes no sense. Everyone's like, oh, the government would not lie to us. They, you know, they care about us. But oh yeah, they just took people and did unconsensual mind control. Why would they ever lie to us? But you know, if I keep talking about this, they're probably gonna lock me in a room and start playing Eminem for the next like 2 years. So, you know, we're gonna move on to the next video.
Both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret. Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code? I wish there were something secret I could manifest. 322, a secret number? There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
Tim Russert, the moderator of Meet the Press and NBC's Washington bureau chief, collapsed and died early this afternoon.
What's the Bohemian Grove then?
It's in San Francisco. It's been documented already.
Yeah.
There's been many politicians, many actors, many musicians, artists. They come together and they do these rituals to this an owl or whatever it is, and they do sacrificial rituals to this owl and do weird shit. Or oh shoot, I can't even say that on TikTok. But you know, they do a lot of weird stuff.
They do?
Oh yes, they do.
And this is proven and documented.
Proven and documented.
This man accidentally entered the real-life backrooms and was found dead 3 weeks later. In January of 2017, 71-year-old Bernard Gore was supposed to meet his wife and daughter at a Westfield Mall in Sydney, Australia, but never showed up. He'd apparently been doing some shopping on his own before they showed up, then completely disappeared without a trace. After frantically searching for her husband who suffered from dementia, Angela Gore filed a missing persons report with local authorities. Bernard was last seen by a store clerk who said the man looked confused on the morning of his disappearance. Investigators were initially hopeful when surveillance footage showed Bernard walking towards a fire escape, but they didn't realize that through the exit was a complete labyrinth of stairwells, confusing hallways, and self-locking doors. In fact, the entire fire escape stretches for 8 miles, and numerous mall shoppers have been lost down there before, with one woman describing it as a maze from a nightmare. Accordingly, it took police 3 weeks to finally locate Bernard's lifeless body in the stairwell. He was likely wandering around the fire escape for up to an entire week before eventually succumbing to natural causes. Bernard's death was officially ruled the result of a misadventure.
Right now that schools across the country are closing. Wait till you see the amount of schools that are closed. So schools across the United States are closing due to spikes in influenza and other seasonal illnesses. Schools and even entire school districts are temporarily closing in Texas, Ohio, Georgia, Tennessee, and other states. It's a measure reminiscent of the COVID lockdown era. Schools are shutting their doors, some pausing classes entirely, while others pivot to remote learning, all due to the surge in respiratory illness. So the flu is a common and highly contagious respiratory illness that can be a week's worth of miserable symptoms such as a fever, chills, cough, sore throat, runny nose, and body aches. And it transmits very easily from person to person. But this flu ain't the same old flu. Flu activity is high nationally and continues to increase across the country, according to the CDC. Get this, at least 41 states are currently reporting very high or high influenza-like illnesses. 41 states, people. Dr. Jason Newland, the division chief of infectious diseases at Nationwide Children's Hospital, said that what worries us the most are bacterial infections that can follow alongside influenza. Get kids super sick. Flu itself and those complications can lead to passing in children. Influenza is scary. So far,
Extra Morbid Facts, Part 85. On May 2nd, 2001, John Battaglia lured his two daughters, 9-year-old Faith and 6-year-old Liberty, to his Dallas apartment for what was supposed to be a routine visitation, even though he was already wanted for violating probation after threatening their mother, Mary Jean Pearl. Furious that she had reported him, he called her on speaker and forced the girls to the phone so that she could hear everything. As Mary Jean begged them to run away, Faith's last words were, "No, Daddy, please don't do it," followed by the sound of multiple gunshots. Battaglia shot both girls with a .45 caliber revolver, then calmly left the apartment, went to a tattoo shop, and had 2 roses inked on his arm to honor them. When police arrived, the girls were found posed and surrounded by their toys. Battaglia showed no remorse at trial, smirked at the prosecutors, and even blew kisses at spectators in the courtroom. He was sentenced to death and eventually executed in 2018, calling himself the happiest man alive moments before the injection.
It's one thing to be a sick, psychotic individual, but to make people suffer as a result of your issues is just beyond disturbing. And it's just sick because there's way too many people like this nowadays, and these people live among us and you really would never even know until they snap. You know, rest in peace to them. Nobody deserves to go through that, especially from their own father. This is just absolutely sick.
There's a video of some kids in 1901 that are looking at a camera for the first time. It's wild. Like, look at these people. You gotta understand, this is what our grandparents went through. These are hard people. Like, look at that kid.
Look at him with his thumbs in his pocket.
Yeah. He's probably thinking, can I rob this camera?
Hey guys, so an ex-friend / ex-girlfriend of David's who met him in August or September of 2022 has spoken out about her friendship / relationship with David. And in my opinion, what she said kind of highlights the fact that David is not only manipulative, but also very intentional. Some of what she says also showcases this split personality thing that David seems to have, hence his alter ego Itami. A lot of people seem to look at David's posts in the past and think that he's so immature, so childlike, but I feel like this is all an act. He's a lot smarter, he's way more deliberate than a lot of people are giving him credit for, and I feel like this persona he put on publicly was to possibly attract younger fans. She also seems to hint at the fact that David could have been talking to Celeste as early as summer of 2023 when she would have been just 12 years old. You guys can pause to read this entire thing if you'd like. I'm gonna just summarize the main points. So she says that they were together when she was 16 and David was 18. However, they met when they were both minors, when he was 17 and she was 15. She said that at some point they both realized that getting into a relationship was a mistake, but they did not end things on bad terms. She said David broke up with her because of maturity differences and told her it was a learning experience for the both of them. The other breakup text earlier on got leaked by someone who was known to leak David's music. And to just jog anyone's memory, these are the texts that she's referring to that we discussed a few months back, where David ended things because he was on tour and she was still in school. She says, if it's true that he was dating Celeste, I'm beyond disappointed and disgusted. If she was the girl he dated late 2023, that means I was the girl before her. David once told me I was someone who got the most empathy out of him in a long time. We were super close, but a lot of it was love bombing, and as he said himself, we were quite literally feeding off of each other's attention, which I now see as I've matured. He did introduce me to Christianity though and teach me me mindsets that have stuck with me to no longer get stuck in any depression I may face. He really helped be the stepping stone for me to turn my life around. David told me our relationship was a learning lesson for the both of us and mentioned maturity differences, etc. If he had fully taken that lesson and grown from that smaller mistake, this would have never happened. That is what feels so insane. People are getting the timeline of David allegedly being close with Celeste wrong, I believe. When David and I were together, he sent me a screenshot of his TikTok DMs in April of 2023. The user 0907, speculated to be Celeste, wasn't on it, and she shares this screenshot of the screenshot that he sent her. She herself is in the DMs, a couple of David's friends are in there, and a girl that he took to prom, also a relative of one of his friends. And for those who don't know what she's talking about, the 0907 account is believed to have belonged to Celeste Rivas Hernandez before she switched to Yay Woohoo. In January of 2024, someone comments on one of David's videos saying, "Please adopt me, I need it," to which he responds back, "Should we?" and tags 0907. In February of 2024, someone tags 0907 on one of David's videos saying that this is his girlfriend. And let's not forget that Celeste was born on 0907, September 7th. This ex/ex-friend of David's goes on to say that in June or July of 2023, she again asked David for a screenshot of his TikTok DMs because she was jealous. He sends them to her, and that is when she notices the 0907 account. He explains who everyone in the DMs are, but he does not provide an explanation as to who 0907 is. She believes this is around the time that David and Celeste started getting close, and they were communicating on his old burner account, Fetch Me Their Souls, which he ended up changing to Grade A Trey before deleting the account altogether in early 2024. She says that she refers to dating David in quotes because while they were dating, he was on tour in Europe and they had only ever talked in person one time, and that was after a show that he performed at in Dallas in June of 2023. She describes this interaction being weird because she was allowed behind the gates by a staff member, but David acted as if he didn't even know who she was. She said that the two talked and texted almost 24/7, and when she was in front of him face to face at this specific show, he asked her what her name was. She said even her father, who had brought her to this concert, was extremely confused. She was driven 2 or 3 hours to go see him at this concert, and he completely disregarded her. You know, it makes me wonder if he didn't acknowledge that he knew her publicly because he knew that she was a minor, or if he didn't acknowledge her publicly because he was talking to different girls around this time and he genuinely didn't remember that he's talking to this girl too. She goes on to say that the second strange interaction with David was at LAX in January of 2024, which is when we know he was communicating with Celeste. She says that it was extremely coincidental. She saw him at the airport. She sent him a text asking if he was at LAX, to which he responded yes. She then texted him and asked if she could come up and say hi to him, and he completely ignored her. She said she ended up confronting him about this at a later date over the phone, to which he apologized and said that he was listening to a band's new album and he had gotten distracted. She also recalls 2 other strange incidents with David that happened over the phone. She said that in October of 2023, she reached out to David on Snapchat because she was in a depressive state over the fact that her friend had passed away, and David responded back, "I'm a realist, so this might not align with your opinions," but basically told her that she should just be comfortable with her depression because other people have it worse than her, and she shouldn't be grieving her friend who had passed away a few months prior anymore. It's a recurring pattern here where David seems to be detached and unbothered by death in general. And given his obsession with gore and people passing away, and the fact that he doesn't seem to care when people do, I mean, he doesn't care that this girl is grieving the loss of a close friend who died tragically and suddenly. He didn't seem to care when he was told that a body was found in his Tesla. He continued performing for days. Just an observation, you guys take that how you will. Now, the second strange incident that she recalls over the phone is when she asked David about a girl that he was talking to on Discord, a girl that also happened to be in his Discord server, and he responds to her that this is a 15-year-old girl that people prey upon, and he was trying to protect her and make sure she was all right. Here's a screenshot that she shared of her asking David about this girl and him responding back who she is. Here's some other messages between her and David that she says were harmless in the moment and that she didn't think anything of back then, but looking back at them now with everything that's come out, she does acknowledge that they are kind of eerie. This one in particular, when he says that Itami, his alter ego, could cut both of her arms off. I mean, how weird is that? And then, as I was saying at the beginning of this video, where David seems to do things that are well thought out with intention, despite what many people may realize, this is another example of it. He had this song right here that is unreleased called Ropes, and these are some of the lyrics that he posted on his story. And if you look at the first letter at the start of each line, it spells out this particular girl who we're talking about right now's name, Kira. So when we think of all the things that currently don't make sense about this case, why was Celeste put in a Tesla? Why was she put in David's Tesla? Why was she left down the street from the home that he was renting, walking distance? I do believe that he possibly did think all of this out before he did it all, and I do think that we are going to see that when he starts presenting his defense, if and when he is arrested.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have ran into people with very psychotic tendencies, and obviously there's different levels to it. I'm not saying all of them are like David. They're gonna throw their, girlfriend they killed in their trunk. A lot of these people have similar patterns and act very similar. If you really look into this dude, what he was about, what he represents, the type of things he says and the way he acts, you could really see that there were signs that this dude is not right in the head. Obviously before all this, you can't really judge because, nobody would have expected something as tragic as this. But looking at it now, it's just really eerie to see how all these signs were right in front of our face, and now it's too late.
What's that? Oh, there's some secret information coming out about Antarctica. Tell me more. Yeah, there's more top secret information as to why people can't go to Antarctica and why everybody around the world is prevented from going there. Okay. Yeah, it's being said that there's way more lands beyond Antarctica. Okay. And that only certain people get to go there and live there. Okay. It's being said that beyond Antarctica, people would age differently, much slower. Gravity's a little bit different. Time's different. Different beings are there. Different animals and species are there. Okay. What's really interesting is it's been reported that certain ice there, if you were to consume it, it would heal you of anything, and you would basically be able to live forever. Okay.
Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite part of the video. It made you tremble in your boots, and we're going to be on to the next one.